to get done what we can here. We got to page, we're in the Tivakavana, so we got into this thing. I went through that last piece, all the different parts of the Arach Bakar, and we're over here right now on page Tuf Kufay Gimel, and he really has I think, a better explanation coming up here. Let's read down below and pick it up, just going through the black and the whites. Talking about groggy, wow. So here's the thing. It's always been confusing, and I mentioned it several times, but now he's really telling us that this is a cipher that you use in this particular situation, that is to stem off a plague. So he says, and it has to do, I guess, with the fact that each one of the words of the Ketoret has a secret meaning in it. And I was going to go into that. He says, there we go. So we understand these are sets of threes made by tens. He's going to go into it better. So Tevis Ayak Bakar, he says, Haim Seder shall what is it? Let me bring this up a little bit more. Say shall shlosh osius for the chen kosvim harav kasher rotzin hachlif as a os ba'osios shall Ayak Bakar. When you do that, yesh lahachlis as a os rak ba'os achas hasmuchalon. Below ba'os sha'acharecha could go on, for example, so he's going to get a little bit better here. And then he's going to bring us some other ciphers. Harav maybe dogma kadei shenabi zos, and he says, say for example, you take the aleph, you have an aleph to Ayak Bakar, tachlifana ba'os yud, you switch it to a yud. Os aleph b'seder Ayak Bakar, tachlif osech davka, rak ba'os asmuchala, shehi the yud in the Ayak Bakar, which is 10 pieces away. Ba'os yud tachlifana ba'os kuf, which is going into the hundreds column, the first letter of the hundreds. That's 100. Ba'os kuf hasmuchala. Now he has a reason why he's going through all of this, so let's see how it goes. V'im koya os achrona, that if it was the last letter, he says you have to go to they start over again. It goes around in a circle, as we said yesterday. He said, so if you want to do that, the os kuf tachzor the os rishona goes back again, os tachzor pam nosefes, os kuf the os rishona shehi os aleph. And you switch it to the os aleph. So you go right back around again. Os kuf kushehi achrona b'tevis Ayak Bakar. He said tachlifeno b'os aleph shehi os rishona b'tevis Ayak Bakar. So I now went it over. It's a little clearer this way how you have to handle this. Machlifim ha'osius ba'osius Ayak ba'ayak. So the same you do that. B'shar osius shal alpha beta, you do the same thing. Zu tachlif as called shara osius shal alpha beta. So he says shehei bacher galash, and then he goes on to the next one. V'zeh sidram, and he says ayak. The first you have ayak, and then you have bacher, and then you have galash, and he goes through the damas, hanach. So all of these things are related to the number 10. So the 1, 10, 100. Like that. So it goes along in that way, and that's how it goes. Alpha beta, so the same basis, so all the rest of that is the same thing. You're talking with the integer, then you're going 10 more, then you're going up to the next level of hundreds. So he finishes up by saying that. And he says like this. He says Shuhu Hashemesh Hashlosh. So he says Shehem Hashlosh Osius Achaz Bata, like that. He said Kashemachlifa Osius Beseda the Alpha Beta Shal Achaz Beta. Guy said Gimel Yud Pei I can't pronounce it, maybe and then you start with a Dalit, and you move up 10, and Gesetra like that, and then you start with a Hey, you move up 10, and then you move from the 10, you move to the 100, and then like that. And we have a whole Seder of that. Then you have, what is this? Vav Mem R and Zion Nun Shin Tov. Sheseder Zecha B'Nizker B'Gemara. This is all mentioned in the Gemara. Az Machlif and Ma'os Rishona B'Os Hashniya. V'Esa Os Hashniya B'Shlishis. V'Chozeres Os L'Shlishis. I guess that's why he had the Zion in there. He says, he comes back again. Hashlish the Hachlifa Ba'os Rishona, so you switch it back to the first letter again. Now you also had the same thing elsewhere. He says, Amaschalfos Ba'alpha Beta, the Seder the Narishon, the Seder the Narishon, maybe Seder Alpha Bezos, Amaschalfos B'chamesh Ofanim Vehem, so he brings us 5 other ones. So 5 other ones. So the first one is the Atbash, where you take the first letter and the last letter. So going upwards to the, so it would be the second letter and the second to last letter. That's another switch. Excuse me. Then the next one he mentions is called Atbach. Now Atbach, we know that it's in the Rishash Siddur, and it has to do with the switch that takes place over there. It says it's At, and then it says it's Atbach, and then it goes, this is according every 9. So you're going every 9. Then there's another one that's mentioned over here, number Gimel, is an 8. I think this is the one that's 8. No, it's 11. So this, I should have marked it. I try to mark it to make it easy for me. It's Aleph, then Lamed, and then Beis, and then Mem, and then Gimel, and then Nun. It's like this. That's the switch. Then there's a fourth one. Is the Achas. It starts like this. Every 8 letters, and then it goes with the single. Then it goes with the 8th letter, and then it goes 8th letter again, like that. And the last one is the one that we're talking about. It's the Agbacher, which is, of course, we're going by ones and then tens and then hundreds like that. And he shows you how they work together. So now that he told us that, of course, we're still, he actually is really, I think maybe I'm asking the question the wrong way. Well, I always do, because when I can't figure things out, is that why it is, because I'm always asking why it is that we employ these. So it seems to be that the employment of these different ciphers is according to what you're trying to accomplish. So the one that we're working on is Bacher, is the one that you use in order to be able to produce what's the right word? A cure to plagues. So he's giving us an idea. So he going on. He says, "Sarach l'chavik haven." You have to this agvona, b'shem hakodesh. This switches into this name, which is Mem Tov Kuf Vav. Now, one question I have right away is that what makes this particular cipher into this switch when you're taking when you're doing this? How's it come out to be that number? But really, particularly, what does he mean by Hashem Kadosh? I don't hear exactly, but I guess he means to say that it's a special word and that is produced by the Ayik Bacher, and as a result of that, it has a power to be able to damage the plague. In other words, to stop the plague or make it subside. So at Kodesh, so he has this word. I'm going to call it Matko. Maybe I shouldn't pronounce it. I just really don't know. So let's go back. We'll say Mem Tov Kuf Vav. Kavana Gedoyder of a Gomor. So we have a complete Yotzach Hashem Mechalifos Atevos. So how in fact do we get to this name? He said Vegan the Kavan also understand this. Yesh Kavana no Sefes B'ma Shetzrichen the Kavan B'Shem Hakodesh Matku. So there's a Kavana that we have to know that once we went through this and we're able to produce it. This ability is is something we need. Because what? It comes out to the milui of Havaya the Yudin. Now the milui of a Yudin is 72. It's far from 546, which is Matko. He says about shame, this shame. He said, well, that doesn't sound right. Now this particular name, or that Milui Yudin, that's it, goes along with Abba. He says, why? Shaharika b'shem kavayim b'milu yudin hu b'parts of Abba. It's in that particular parts of. So he says, Ola I am bet, as we know, shem kavayim b'milu yudin sheb'parts of Abba, Ola b'gematria Av. It says the milui mu, and then the milui of that name is 46. A milui levad shall shem avaya the milui yudin. Beli osius, the pshutos, without the beginning, the beginning, I guess the simple letters. In other words, you take out the pashat of the pashat, you wind up with the haya hu b'gematria misbar 46. That's another way to say it. So the question over here, as we see this a lot, is that we're really dealing with the milui. What is the power of the milui without the pashat? In other words, not the whole name. It's a name that's filled in. It's a filled in part, which to me represents like the acharayim or something like that. He says because that's the part that's the ha'ara that's coming from it. So Rabagam Hu b'gematria milui shem ekis. He said not only that it's a gematria of the milui of the shem eki b'ruvura the yudin. Now let's see how this goes here again. So now we're dealing with a revua, the revua. V'gam Hashem, this name mat, and then the kaf vav. B'gematria k'mizbar milui shel shem eki b'revua. He's talking about the milui only of that. Shuhu ach te'ekia b'milu yudin. So here we see another ach. Just an idea here. So we're taking the of the revua. Now, exactly, he's explaining it. It's really pretty far out of my my ability to digest it 100%, and so I'm trying to learn it. Hashem ekia hu b'parts of ima. So we know ekia refers to ima, but olatov kuf mem daled. It comes out to be 544. That's almost 546, like the other one that he was talking about. But let's see what he got here. Hashem ekia b'milu yudin b'revua oiler b'gematria tov kuf mem daled 544. Kazan. And then he shows it to you. He says this is the whole revua of that aleph k, and then so the aleph k yud k. That comes to gematria 544. He says immediately tav kuf. So the milui though of this is 500. Kasha masirim ha'osias shall ekia b'revua ha'pashut. It comes to normally take that out. It comes out to 44, and he shows it to us. Aleph hey, aleph k yud k. So he says he's aleph k yud rather than aleph k yud k. Nishar rak hamilui shall ach te'ekia b'revua. All you have left over there is the ach of the ekia of the revua. So then you just have just the milui again. Now, like to me, like the milui means like the part that you're sending down. It's not the whole light. It's the part that you're sending down. It's the outside part of the light, really, I think. Ha'ola b'gematria taf kuf. So the milui itself, it's guys like this: lamed fe yud, vav daled, lamed fe yud, vav daled yud. So what that adds up, those are all the miluim. He says of the different parts of the ekia in revua. This gives it a name. Talk the what we said before 546 hanizker. Shnei miluyim biyachad. Hey milui haravua shal ach shal akia. It's just the milui part, which I think the milui is like what you say. It's the ha'ara. It's a secondary light. The light is always mismayit here because you're removing it from it. The akia itself. Or the revua, the eki of the first letters, that is. V'hamilui shall chavaya the milui yudin b'gematria taf kuf and then mem vav. V'ofen she taf kuf hu milui revua ekia. The mu is what? Another milui. It's the middle of the shem b'vaya the milui yudin. So this, but it's straight. In other words, the abba part, which is the mu, that abba part is not a revua. It's a straight. It's straight, but it's just a ha'ara. Then over there it becomes an ima. It becomes this. What you're doing is you're becoming more complicated because you're now doing a revua, which is running off the backside of ima, that ha'ara. But it's only the ha'ara part, not the ikr. V'zechem v'chashem HaKodesh mat, and then kuvov, mat. We'll call it mat, okay? We just call it mat. I think that's how we would do it. And then mu hu b'shem havayash hu abba. It's the milui over there, and the kaf kuf is the milui of the akya in a revua state like that. Now we have this name. He says it's a name which is kadosh, which is produced as a result of these miluyim. So he says again. I'm assuming that idea is that if you're fighting a plague, that this is the weapon that you're using is this milui. Hashem Hasheni Shenisachan Arizal the Lechaverim the Kamin Bo is the Kamin Bo Be'ez Amiris HaKetoret. So when you're saying Ketoret, he has another name, and that name he wants to show you how this would work. It's the word nataf. So that's another one of the spices. Hashem Hasheni Shenisachan and the Kamin Be'tevis nataf. So this is the kavana that you can have with that name. So we'll switch this name Natav. He says another cipher. So it's a cipher, I guess he's saying, or something like a cipher. He's saying with each one of the words of the 11 different kind of spices that go in it. You use here, but you don't use Eichbacher. You use Atbash. So he talks about Natav. Excuse me, the Atbash. So he says you lose. So which is Atbash is I am Taf Beishin Gavil Resh. In other words, it's one end of the alphabet to the other end, and then corresponding to the second letter would be the second to last letter, and so on and so forth. The Atbash. He says, and then he shows you how it goes, like that, and so etc. Let's go to Resh Saman. Shem Kodesh, and it also will produce another name. This is a name that you could use. Again, when he says Shem Kodesh, I don't have a ready explanation, but it seems like what he's trying to do is give us some tool, this name, and the process by which the tool is produced. Shetakli v'tevis notaf v'tevis shel adbash, will come out the adbash, the haida shehachlif os nun b'os tes b'os nun, V'os Pei, V'os Vav, Yihye Shem Kadosh. This gives you this name. Now, he's going to do something else here, and I'm sorry I'm reading on here a little bit, but it's like one piece, and I'd like to go through and just try to see. He's telling us the cookbook, but he only remembers part of the cookbook, as he's going to say in a minute. He says, he says, Shenekudosav Yotzech B'mina Osius L'cho Sa. So what did that mean? He said because you take the pasuk and you'll see Savaras Marchu is this. Shechanakuda Shechel Hashem, this name, we'll call it Tan, or I don't know, he says Tana, that's what he says. Yotzem min Nakuda Shel Osius L'chal Samim. So it comes from 3 letters of those. Now, once again, he's telling me something is really beyond my pay grade. That you want to do something about a plague, which is a possibility anytime. He says Shel Osius L'cha, and then just the first letter of the word Samim, those 3 letters. Shehem Shin, Vav, and Aleph. He says take them, and then he says, excuse me, the kudos are going to be taken from that pasuk. Now we see he does this a lot. Once again, I just say it's cookbook style. I don't know why sometimes we borrow from a pasuk the kudos that we're going to put underneath, say, a particular letter or something like that. Why? What is this borrowed? I'm calling it borrowed vocalizations, patach. So I imagine, I just throw something out here, that if you're going to say a mantra, and this, for example, over and over and over again, then you really need to know, like this name of how you're going to say it and how you're going to do it. You really know the proper pronunciation. And the proper pronunciation, and pronunciation is produces vibrations. It sounds like Rabbi Memran. That's the best explanation I have that you need. But you need the secret of it. Apparently, is the vocalization of the name as well. Or you could use another one. They could come from these words. The word v'chelvena, Samim Ulevona. Then it would be Vonazaka. Then it would be these names. Vahanakudis Heb Minikud Osius. These letters, just certain letters of that pasuk, which is V'chelvana Samin Ulevonazaka. Some letters of it. So the first part is going to take the b'no, just the first ban, which comes from last letters or middle letters of the word halbana. The tav is v'halbana. He said b'nikud zayin, and then when you come to the zayin, the tav is zaka. So halbana, and then the word zaka, you take a certain part of it. Okay, so he says Shlishi, the third one. Hashem Shlishi Shemasa Harav the Chaverim the Kavin Bo the H the Kavin Bo Be'ez and Miris Ketoret. So there's another one that you should say at that time. Who v'shalachto. So you take this word shalachto tachlifenu b'keil bom. So this is using every 11 letters. Again, I don't have a reason why. He says that's what you do. He says if you say that and you use this is also very helpful. It's another word, v'shechelis. So he says, v'tevis shechelis, tachlifa zocha ba'alpa beta, the keil bom, which we said before, which is every 11th letter. And he says, kazeh, keil, and then the next one is going to be bum, and then gan, and das, and he goes through the whole set of them. Shem Kadosh Haku Shem. This is the name. These two names. He says one is P and the other one's the Aleph name. So what you're doing with it produces these two names. Once again, these names have an ability to be able to. Don't ask me how to fight this. And it has to do with the way they're formed. Somehow this here we're talking about what's it called? It's called a kale bomb. So he says. Don't ask me. Kashetachliv tevis v'shechelis v'osias keilbam. He says Yihi Shem Kadosh Shuhu. This one P and A. He said ba'ofen zeh v'os vav mischalefes ba'os pei v'os shin mischalefes ba'os yud mischalefes ba'os kuf v'os lamed mischalefes ba'os aleph. That's how it goes. It goes backwards again. V'os taf mischalefes ba'os kuf. V'yichem Shem Kadosh, and it makes this word, this P-A name, it makes those two names, which apparently, once again, when you say that magic word Shchelis, you're going to be able to see how it's possible to use that word to be able to fight the plague because it produces this word. How you use it, I'm not sure exactly. We say it out loud, you don't say it out loud, it's mental, or what. V'shar shemus yod tzech bin shar tevos eini zochram. He doesn't remember the rest of it. Mikol tevos shall shemaisa keteres yotzin shemus hakodesh. He wants to say that each one of the words of the 11 is going to have some switch on it that's going to make a big difference in terms of plagues. V'hilufi osiyasechu b'bal b'beit shonos. Rak the amarchu the shemorchu the marchu. So he doesn't remember the rest of them. That I know so we have those alpha betos. We had 5 of them that were brought over there from the Nar Shalom, and he shows you that all of these are employed in different places or in different ways. So the secret of how they work is obviously that you're hiding the name in a switch, and as a result of that, or learning the process in a switch, like we had before the revua, the revua and the pashut, the miluyim, you're taking them and you're hiding them in a switch. So I guess we could reason that's the way it works. The bad guys can't recognize it so much. I guess that's the idea. So that it's a very simple, plain idea. That all the rest of the words of the Maisa Ketoret, Yotzim Shemus Kadosha Bechidav Atevos Ba'alpabetos, different ones of them, and Iskaram Lamala that were mentioned. So that's a whole idea there to show you the good old cookbook over there. Now we just have very little time here, so since we only have 3 minutes and I didn't get to the other part, let's read the top over here. Continuing on, he says, Kavanas lakavan b'shas hamagefa b'kol rega. Now, I think that's a place I just got to, so I didn't really proofread this. So, reading the top, he says, Gam tov lakavan b'zman hamagefa, tamid b'kol rega. Constantly think about this. Have this kavana. Al shem zeh hakodesh, which is this name, Nun Gimel Fe, and you see how it is vocalized. So we have to hopefully learn a little bit more, like I say, about borrowing this vocalization. Tinakadehu b'tenuas osius, and you're gonna borrow. I guess you're gonna move some osius around. We have to understand this. I don't. Shurik, Hirik, and Seri. So those are going to be they're going to take those vocalizations from elsewhere. So it's something about the Inyan of vocalizations. So the Inyan is like this. Ki so the Davarhu. Ki gam become achas mesivos makas adavar. So one of the reasons, this is the word dever, makas adavar, who nimshach mizeh, comes from this. Ki gasher arba rabavayas the av sag ma'u ben einem meirim, when they stop shining. Oz mistalkim osiosechem, their letters leave. The peshutos. Menisharim and miluyim shehem levad. Then all that you have there is the miluyim, which is the radiance that comes from it, but it has no root. So he says, move, lav, yat, and ko. Sak arba'asam comes to the number 128. He said, v'im klalos arba'asam kuf lamed gimel is 132. So you take the kolel, you put that in at each one of them. Another cookbook, he says, v'klalos kulam, and you put them all together. Now you got kuf lamed gimel. If you take all of that, so all these klalos, put it together, you get another 4. It's 4 altogether. Communion shame, this name, which is the name Negev, which is Lashon. To me, this is Lashon plague. Okay, the sivas is talkos and iskaras min miluyim, because of the reason that we've left all the miluyim out. Negev ba'olam. That's why a negev comes into the world. Now we'll get to this on the next time when we read the tiv. We'll get in more detail. But the chem, the kavet b'shem and niskar, the sak and the inyan. So I didn't run over to the Sifra de Tzniuta because I think there's some arichas over there, and I wouldn't have time. I wanted to get through this whole thing at one time so we could get a flavor. So thank you for learning with me today. Really appreciate it.